Okay, I guess I'm back here. My fingers are so slippery today. Y'all have to forgive me. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. Um, boy, let me fix this so I can see who's coming in the queue to talk to me today. And my subject tonight is about us people, intimate stuff. So let me put the link in the comments. Let me see if this will work for me. And if you want to come in the studio and talk to me, you're welcome to do so. It's BBSG Worldwide, StreamYard, and the link is there. My girl, the one I'm playing right now, this child here is just the bomb to me. Her name is Ravina. Check her out on Tiny Desk. She's got that Erykah Badu, Sade vibe to her. Love it. Beautiful voice, beautiful spirit too. Very beautiful spirit. Her name is Ravina. But yeah, I'm trying to wait and see if anybody's gonna come in and help me out tonight. You know, my compadres like to come in a little late and show their support a little later. So we'll get started in a few minutes. Sit here and vibe for a minute, get in the groove. Our subject tonight is about what do you like in bed, and are you bold enough and are you truthful enough to tell your mate, your partner, your love, your interest when they are pleasing you and when they're not. A lot of times we get into relationships and we're not sure, if we're with someone that can please us. So my thing is always be upfront and honest and let the person know, because there's nothing like getting into a relationship and being with somebody you really feeling, and they're doing things to you that you really ain't feeling. You really don't like it, but you like them. You like them, but you don't like every little thing that they do. And because it worked on someone else, they think it works on you. Hi, Miss Spirit Lifter. She's in the building.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
I am super fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sitting here with my legs swinging. That's why I'm bouncing like this. Every chair I sit down in, I end up, my feet never touches the ground. But I have these high dining room chairs, so I'm a little bouncy tonight.
Oh, that's cool. I get it. I'm 4'11", so my feet never touch the ground either.
Oh, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I got some people coming in. Miss Andrea is here. My crew is showing up. My tribe is showing up. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, beautiful. How are you? There's a lot of noise. It's a little, go out and come back in because it's a lot of noise in the background, Andrea. Oh, it just stopped. It just stopped. Whatever you did, it just stopped.
Thank you so much.
Your picture, you didn't have to leave.
Thank you so much. I feel so grateful.
I have some beautiful women that are on my stream with me, and sometimes they like being on the screen, and some of them they just like these little, icons showing up. But it's okay. Maybe one day they'll stay on, and their beautiful faces will grace the screen. But ladies, tonight the subject is are you okay with your man telling you, because now it's the ladies here now, but are you okay with your man telling you when you're not doing something right to him? sexually in bed. Are you okay with that? Would you have a problem with that?
No, absolutely not. Um, I, for one, wouldn't want to have such a beautiful exchange. It's pointless to have what I would want to be considered a beautiful exchange if I'm doing something to someone that, dissatisfies them
Right.
or rubs them slightly the wrong way, literally,
Okay.
or vice versa. I mean, I don't see, but I understand that sometimes the weirdest thing about us humans is that sometimes the people that we are closest to are the
Mhm.
ones that we find it most difficult to talk to. And,
Ain't that
it
weird?
shouldn't be that way, but,
Mhm.
you know, I live it every day. I live it every day, not in this context, but in other contexts
Yes.
that, because people are very sensitive based on their
Very
experiences,
entitled. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we have to, censor what we say around each other. Well, I mean, well, I used to censor what I say. The older I get, Mari and Andrea, I find that, I think I'm just like I'm getting like my grandmother now. I don't care how it, as long as you get the point. I
That is
have
so
to
funny you
tell
said
you,
your grandmother.
yeah, I have to tell you the truth because for one, if I don't love you or care about you, I'll lie to you.
Yeah.
And right now, maybe when I was younger, it might have been a fear thing. It might have been, Andrea, your screen, your picture was up there for a minute, went back out. Um, when I was
Okay.
younger, it was a fear thing where I was just like, I don't want to hurt this person. I don't want to, I don't want to tell him that I don't really like that, because it'll hurt his ego and it'll do this and, but now I don't have, if I don't speak up, and if we don't speak up, if you don't speak up, if the audience doesn't speak up, you're wasting time where you could be being, fulfilled in that relationship a lot better if you just speak up at the time that it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah. And it's not what you say, it's it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Um I hear I don't I'm do you hear something? I hear like something in the background.
Do you hear
It sounds
music?
like wind.
Okay. I do have music playing. Is it too loud?
No, it's not music, but if you don't hear it, then that's fine. That's the most important thing.
No, I
But it
hear it.
does
It
sound
just
like
sounds like,
feedback.
yeah, it just sounds like the background of a TV or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um
But yeah, um, go ahead, Mari.
yeah, no, I forgot what I was saying. I forgot where I was going with it.
Because get this, the truth that people lie when the truth will do.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
yeah. Let me say that one more time. People lie when the truth will do.
Yeah,
What's the worst that could happen? She gets up and walk out because you told her you didn't like the way she sucked your dick.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
really?
yeah, yeah.
Really?
Oh, I know what I was going to touch on. You mentioned your grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and that is we have something in common there. My grandmother was someone, my maternal abuelita was
Mm-hmm.
somebody that she was
Beautiful.
so candid,
Mm-hmm.
that would say that she was candid to a fault, because if she didn't like people to ask her questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the same way. I don't ask people a lot of questions because I believe that people share with you what they want to share with you.
Okay.
So I probably, low key don't like people to ask me too many questions either. But
Okay.
I'm pretty open, so you'll likely hear me say something. You'll likely hear me say it or tell it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, as I get older, I am becoming more and more candid with
Yeah.
other people.
Hmm.
But I think again, whether it's out of the bedroom or in the bedroom,
Hmm.
it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And I've practiced
Hmm.
for 10 years, being in this relationship where I decided that I was going to give it. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Andrea. It's great to see your face, sis.
I know.
Yeah, I probably will not stay with the cam. I'm not very comfortable with it. How's the vocal? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Do
we
you
can hear
hear a
you
lot of
very well.
noise? A lot of
Yeah.
background noise? Okay,
There
that's
is there is some background noise, but it's a lot more muted than it was before. It's a lot lower.
Mhm. Right.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, but it's very slight.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I don't know what the heck is with my audio.
Hmm.
And you're certain that you don't have it up on another screen, like you don't have another the live stream up someplace else on the.
I did earlier.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I
okay.
had it on both Facebook and here, and I think they were
Yeah,
causing
yeah, because that
problems.
happened to me the last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I decided when I got involved with my fella 10 years ago
Hmm.
that I was going to be extremely vulnerable. I was going to be extremely
Good
candid.
for you.
And that was in every aspect of our relationship, including the
Hmm.
bedroom. And what I found was, and again, it's easy for me because I am clearly a communicator. So it's easy for me. So I'm not saying that that it should be just as easy for other people. But one
Hmm.
of the things that I try to encourage my sisters to do is if you're going to put yourself in a relationship,
Hmm.
sexual, lover, friend with benefits, whatever your relationship is, but it's certainly if the heart is involved,
Yeah.
you know, either you do it or you don't do it. So you communicate clearly or or leave, it's the blank or get off the pot type of mentality.
Yeah.
So,
I agree wholeheartedly.
yeah, and if so when there's something that I want to say that makes me uncomfortable,
Hmm.
I tell the truth underneath the truth,
Okay.
because the truth is so layered. So the
Yeah.
truth underneath the truth for me is that this is hard for me to talk to you about,
Hmm.
but it's important to me that we connect on a level such that I have to tell you what is hard for me to talk to you about. And once you say that, because what you're doing is you're speaking to a person's heart and not their head.
Exactly.
And that applies even in the bedroom.
Hmm. And that's important too. That part you just said there that just hit a great nerve for me. You talking to their heart and not their head. Sometimes when your people are talking, they think you're talking at them, their ego, everything about them that has nothing to do with what you're aiming at. And the heart is where you're aiming at. It's like, okay, don't charge, I think they used to say, don't charge it to my head, charge it to my head and not my heart. We have to understand each other going forward, that we're not in the same state of mind that we used to be in. Our children are more advanced because we became more advanced while carrying them, while, raising them, while, going through the motions with them. Our children are more advanced. So we are more advanced, So at this point in time in the game, there's no reason why I can't come out and tell you the truth about everything, everything. And it should be okay that I tell you the truth.
Absolutely. I agree.
Andrea?
And also not expressing yourself fully, not telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times that the person who's not being honest will
Mm-hmm.
feel resentment toward the other person. Like,
Okay.
I mean, obviously the person can't read your mind, but the unfortunate part is because you're not able to express yourself, you're
Mm-hmm.
really pissed off with yourself, but you'll
Yeah.
take it out on your significant other. because you're
Hmm.
not able to express to them what you need
And what do you
in
think
order to
that's
feel
from?
valued or what have you. Please say.
What do you think that's from that you can't express what you need from them? Why is the fear there with that other person?
It may be because you don't want them to feel less than. You don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't
Inadequate.
want to make them feel uncomfortable about, them or if we're talking about, for example, the sexual aspect.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I'll share something very slight. Um,
Hmm.
I'm very sensual,
Okay.
right? I'm very much into kissing and touch and sound and just everything. Sounds, sense, everything.
Hmm.
It's big for me.
Okay.
My husband, not as much. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's probably men in general, but my husband, not so much. So um, I remember thinking to myself, I want to have 2 hour kissing sessions, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But he's more of a pecker. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He's
Okay.
very sweet. He's very
Hmm.
warm. He's just not a full on sensual, tongue down person. That's just not his way.
Right.
And so I remember initially thinking to myself, well, shoot, this is this is a little bit of a problem.
Hmm.
Once I got past being the initial stages of stigmatization,
Hmm. We've all been there.
because I
Hmm.
had been celibate for a long time before,
Okay. Hmm.
and so even when I was in a relationship prior, I was still celibate.
Okay.
So, having been celibate for as long as I had, when I did decide that I wanted to engage in a sexual relationship with my husband, I remember thinking to myself, well, shoot, let's just get to it. All that other stuff that I'd been getting in
Right.
other relationships, but I wasn't having the sex part. Now that I was having the sex part, I didn't even think about all that other stuff. But,
Right.
sometime down the line, I realized, well, shoot, I like that other stuff too.
Okay.
So I remember not feeling really comfortable because one, like I said, I had accepted, his particular way, you
Hmm.
know, with such exuberance.
Okay.
I felt like, well, am I not going to seem like a weirdo or a fraud or what have you? To
Hmm.
now, um, seem to want something in addition or something else.
Okay.
And plus, I did not want him to feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Like I was saying that, I had a preference for someone else or something else.
Okay.
Um, but then eventually, I don't even know. I think it was something we were watching on television, and the
Hmm.
person was talking about kisses or passionate kisses or something like that. And that's how we started the conversation from a
Okay.
more generalized way. And then
Hmm.
I said, well, I really dig blah, blah, blah. And he was
Hmm.
like, really? Okay. I didn't realize that was really important to you, or you really were into that. And that's how we kind of got it going. And then after
Okay.
that, I was probably a lot less reticent, a lot less um, inhibited about discussing things with him.
Okay. That's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like he was very open.
Oh
He
yeah.
didn't get in his ego. He didn't get in his
No.
feelings
No.
about not telling him before. He just understood. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't know you were into that.
Right. It was
You know,
almost like, oh, this is a little something extra. Let's just
right,
add that to the repertoire kind of thing, as opposed
right,
to, hey, you're not giving me this and I want this. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't broach it from that way. It was
right.
more like, I really dig blah, blah, blah too,
Hmm. Hmm.
or what have you. How do you feel about that? And he actually was like, well, I've never really, known anybody who thought to themselves they wanted to have a 2 hour kissing session. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? And but then he was all for it.
Okay.
Listen, these
Awesome.
coolers, they could
Mhm.
influence a lot. I'm just
Right. Right.
saying.
I love how you I love how you waited to have you waited for the perfect time. You know,
Hmm.
I love how you didn't approach it from that other standpoint that you mentioned that would make him, that could possibly have put him on the defense. you
Yeah.
you waited for the perfect time, and then you lovingly and gingerly brought it into the conversation.
And she was patient.
Exactly, exactly.
Patience.
And I also think that men want to please the woman they love. I've
There you
yet
go.
to meet someone that doesn't, even,
Likewise.
and even men who are not in love, men, it's a thing for them to know that they are pleasing you.
Right.
So I think that, in my humble opinion
Hmm.
and in my limited experience, I think that men are or are easier to talk to, in terms of, especially if you do it the way you did it, Andrea, if you share with them things that you like. I think that they are easier to talk to
Right. Yeah.
than we think.
Right. And Brother Ali, you want to chime in on this since you one of the brothers? How are you today, Brother Ali? Okay, Brother Ali is not speaking. Okay, he's just listening. Um, I forgot my train of thought. Jesus. Um, yeah. I like the way that when you said you waited for the opportunity. And it's a lot of times where we don't wait for the opportunity. We sit and we get mad, we get in our spirits, we get impatient, we think he don't give a fuck, why this mother, why he don't care, and is he paying attention to me? Do he really think I like that? We get into that, that other
Hello,
thing. Brother Ali, Brother Ali, can you hear me?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know why you couldn't hear me before. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
Um,
just wanted you to
I was
chime
just
in on
listening.
what was said.
I didn't hear much, but what I will say is that I mean, as long as the communication, then I think you should be able to talk about anything and come to an agreement or come to some type of medium on anything in a relationship, basically.
Right.
Um, and I do feel like what you said. I mean, I I'm a little hesitant to say that every man uh tries to please a woman, and this is only from my guy perspective, okay?
Hmm.
Because I know some guys when I talk to them, it just I'm like they just out for self. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I, I mean,
I've met a few
I
of
think they
those.
think in their own mind that they're pleasing a woman, but I think when
Hmm.
I'm talking to them, like that's
Hmm.
not it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but you know, like I said, I just came in on the conversation, so I'm not up to speed on what y'all talking about officially everything. So, but I do think, like I said, communication is key.
Right. Yeah. And the brothers that you're talking about, those brothers, there are a few out there that do not I repeat, do not care
Yeah,
if they are pleasing a woman or
right,
not.
right.
These are the extremists, I call them. They are
Yeah,
extremely ready to come,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's all they want to do is come.
Right,
The
right.
extreme brothers,
Hmm.
stay far, far away, ladies, from these men. The guy that just wants to come and he's not looking, he ain't even looking at you. He's not
Right.
communicating with you while he's with you. He's not, he's laying on you and he's just in his head going at it, and it's all about him.
But I feel like so many women have been with guys like that, or
Hmm.
have not been
I got
experienced anything other than that. That even
hmm
sometimes they start to grow to like only expect it a certain way. You know what I mean? Whereas like
okay.
I know I've had some, I've had women in the past where it just feels like they have never made love before. They've
Oh yeah,
only had they've only had men pound on them. That's
yeah,
it. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and
And
that's unfortunate, but that goes back to, I believe, your first sexual experiences. As a young girl, I know a lot of times you don't know what you're doing. You don't know. Most of the time in your night, in your teen, if you start, especially if you start young at 18, 19, 17, 16, all you are doing is pounding. You don't know nothing about love. You don't know how to make love. You don't know nothing about that. You are just letting him pound on you.
then I think because I mean, and this is a I mean, it's an elephant in the room, but we have to be honest about it too. Because
Hmm.
I mean, it's just the statistics show that, especially during this COVID and stuff, a lot of people are addicted to porn, right? And so all they watch is just what they see on porn, and they think, okay, it's gonna be like that. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And they just do that, and they don't know anything else. You know what I mean? Or try to do that, and they don't know anything else. So for
So they
me,
think
I
she's
started
gonna be
having
standing on
sex
her
very
head.
early. You know what I mean? Right. You know? So for me, I had sex very early, but I also it was a woman, my cousin who was an older woman at the time. I was young, and she talked to me and a couple of my brothers, and she was like, if you're not pleasing a woman, I'm doing. Like she made that a point to teach me that at a young age. You know what I mean? Even before I was having sex, that what I mean. You should care about how you are pleasing your partner more than just yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but as black, or even I don't know about other cultures, but as black men, a lot of times at an early age, what we were taught by older men was just to rack up numbers and just, you know what I mean? Just basically, we weren't taught how to be loving or, what I mean, sensual or any of those type of things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So so those brothers didn't grow up learning to be in any of that. You know what I mean? And
Gotcha.
so, they developed to be just, this is what a woman want. And there are some women that just like that too. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you
Especially
know,
if you've been conditioned from a very young age. Of course, you like that. You've been
hmm
conditioned that way.
hmm right.
And that's why it's very important that your first sexual experience is with someone you want to be with, you care about, and you want to go the long distance with, and you can learn. You and him both or him and him, or her and her, whatever, can
hmm
teach each other what it is that you like.
hmm
Because a lot of our sexual experiences did not start the way it should have started. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of our beginnings in sexuality did not start the way I feel um should have happened, to where now there's a disconnect there. you
hmm
know um Men and women in the bedroom are not connecting the way they should, and it's because you're scared to say that you like when he strangle you. I don't get that part, but okay. um, you like being strangled in bed. You like when someone is about to kill you and then you come. I don't know. Some people like that shit. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. It's just that there's things that you have to tell a person, because people are getting into relationships thinking that because they did the same thing to the girl they're with now that they did to the last three other girls, that they're cool with that. And a lot of these women are not speaking up, and men are not speaking up. I'm
Right.
not gonna say that, because men do speak up a lot more than women.
And
But not in a
it's hard
constructive
to
way a lot of times. Not
I'm
in a
sorry, Mari.
constructive.
Go ahead,
Sometimes
Mari.
not in a constructive way though.
I'm sorry, Ali. Say that again.
Sometimes not in a constructive way though. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know. So that's what I mean. It has to be like a really, open dialogue that is more, you know what I mean, trying to understand each other, or take yourself out oneself. I always
Right.
say that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, you have to see the other side or, try to take yourself out oneself to try to understand somebody else's, position or desires or whatever that is, you know what I mean?
Right. And not be afraid of the outcome. See, we're afraid of the consequence before we're afraid of not getting what we want. Stop being afraid of the consequence or what you think or the repercussions or what may not happen if you tell this, if they walk away, they walk away. If they don't want to give you none no more, okay, they don't want to give you none. But don't be afraid of that. Speak your mind.
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid of bullshit, and it's for no reason. It's not you still you'd rather be in the relationship and not being pleased because you're scared you're going to lose that person. Well, if they're not pleasing you, then I mean, how is that a better outcome?
Then what are
Right.
you really losing?
Right, exactly. What are you really losing if you not, so my thing is speak up. But I'm sorry, Mari, you were making a point.
Well, I was just saying as I'm listening that, it's hard for me to believe that as seasoned people of a more mature age
Hmm.
that we would have difficulty expressing ourselves um in our relationships, in particular as it relates to the bedroom. Some of what I'm hearing the brother say, I'm thinking, okay, we are seasoned people. Now, I understand in the 20s, I commend the relative that spoke to you, brother, and gave you, at least put it in your mind
Hmm.
that intercourse, lovemaking is not just about you,
Right.
that it's about, the other woman, or it's about the woman rather. And uh it is amazing to me, to one of your points, it is amazing to me that the men in the family can, and I've witnessed this in my own family, where the men can encourage each other to sleep around, but not, first of all, that's just like, unbelievable. And I can share that my ex-husband shared that his uncle asked him and his brother, not 6 months, one of his uncles asked him, not 6 months into the marriage, did you guys cheat on your wives yet? And
Oh,
yeah.
let me to add to that point. When I got married, you know what pastor friend of mine told me? Well, oh, you're gonna get married. Oh, well, have you a few affairs, your marriage will last longer.
Oh wow, a pastor said this to you?
But that's because
Wow.
people are not open to genuine dialogue as much as they are. You know what I mean? I feel like
I kid you not, he said that.
Yeah, yeah. So but it's so interesting that men can encourage men to cheat,
Hmm.
and and not everybody certainly, but in this, in the example I shared with you, that was definitely a thing.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure he did not, no one, or he did not
Hmm.
ask him, well, are you pleasing your wife? He did not educate him on, relations, how to communicate with your wife inside the bedroom, outside the bedroom, to contribute to a healthy marriage.
Right.
I've heard, and I live a pretty sheltered life, so there's a lot that I don't hear, quite frankly. But
Hmm.
the things, when I have heard, you know through the grapevine, certain things, I am hearing more and more that, the encouragement by men to cheat, and not the conversation about healthy relationships, and that's disturbing, and it's not easy to talk, not necessarily always easy to talk about sexual. It's not easy for me, I'll be honest. It's not. I'm not someone. I listened to the live the other day, the live that you had, I think 2 nights ago, two and a half
Hmm.
two it was 2.5 hours, and it was very interesting and entertaining. And and uh oh gosh, I don't know why I keep losing my train of thought. um
Mari, because we're getting old.
yeah,
So
I
No,
lost my train
well,
of
yeah,
thought.
we're getting old, but you may need some hydration. Sis, did you have water today?
Yeah, I did, but I probably need more. And you know what happened too? A second thought replaced my first thought because there were two things that we talked about, and it does kind of relate to this. So I'll bring it up. The thought that replaced the thought that I forgot had to do with masturbation.
Okay.
And I believe a couple of you ladies said that masturbation wasn't something that was good, it wasn't a thing for you. It wasn't toys and all that. And I agree, I'm not with toys.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to being able to tell someone what pleases you, I
Hmm.
have to ask myself if that is connected to being comfortable with my own body and
Okay.
my own sense of touch for myself. And if um and you guys can tell me that I am an advocate of self pleasure. I'm an advocate of masturbation. I'm not an advocate of toys. um um However, and there's multiple ways to do it. I understand that one of the sisters was like, it's exhausting. There's ways to handle that where it's not exhausting. But
Hmm.
I wonder if there is a connection between being comfortable with yourself and
Hmm.
even knowing what you like,
Hmm.
because you're comfortable with your own body, you're familiar with your own body, and connecting with someone else. And then the other thing I'll say before I shut up is, if you are someone who is a communicator,
Hmm.
who's naturally a loving communicator, I think I don't see why that could not extend into the bedroom in terms of sharing what you like and what you don't like. Because again, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And if you love someone, you're going to take your time
Hmm.
and with how you present it. And if that person loves you, that person is going to take his time to process and explore how to please you.
Right. And I know with me, when I was saying that yesterday, that and I know what you're talking about as far as the masturbation thing. I don't like my touch. I'm not crazy about me touching me. I don't get off on it. I don't know why. I probably could go into my childhood and figure out where it started, why I didn't like the touch of a woman on me, which is, the equivalent of me touching me. So I just never could take my mind and wrap it around, you know, that part of it. So, um, with me, I just think that it's just, I just don't get much out of it. And even with, make sure my kids ain't around. Even with oral sex, I don't get, they be lurking around, Um, even with oral sex, I don't get into that being done on me. I
Wow.
don't. It's just, I'm like, okay, hurry up, get the fuck up, or where's it?
Do you not find it pleasurable? Is that what you're saying?
I no,
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
no, it's not something I can get. I can't go. I can't. I don't know what it is here.
I
You
understand what
know,
you're saying.
So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, don't play with that. Leave that alone.
I'm like Tweet. Do you remember Tweet from the '90s? She was a singer.
That's one of my
Yeah,
favorite singers. I love Tweet.
and she had a song that was like, "Ooh, there goes that."
Yeah.
I'm like Tweet. I love me. I
Mhm.
love my touch
Mhm.
on myself. I understand why my husband thinks my touch is amazing because I do too.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's interesting.
You
That
know,
is
and I and
interesting.
I've always and I wanted to equate that back to why it's always been when I look down the line of friends that I've had or relationships that I've had, it hasn't been too many women. It's always been me, my cousins, my female cousins, but that's all I was always comfortable with, so I just gravitated towards, the masculine energy. And that
Now,
energy makes me feel like a woman.
may I ask you a
Me
question?
touching me don't make me feel like a woman. Now, me touching him, that makes me feel whole, but I'm a little, I think I'm more aggressive in that aspect too, with my man. I'm just aggressive like that. I don't mind holding him. I don't, I get tired of him holding me. I want to hold him. You
Let
feel
me
what I'm
ask you a
saying? So,
question.
hmm
Are you able to touch yourself in like a non-sexual way and
yeah.
find it soothing? Not
hmm
necessarily sexually pleasurable, but soothing. Like,
hmm
are you able to like physically hug yourself
hmm
and feel, or just even rub your shoulders or your whatever your neck?
hmm
Like, are you able to do like a self massage and feel a
all the
level of
I do that.
soothe?
I do that
Okay,
all the time with
okay,
especially with arthritis. I'm always
okay,
rubbing every part of my body. In a sensual way, no, but it's not hard and rough. I am trying to soothe myself, if that's what
right,
you're asking.
yes,
Um,
yes,
so yeah, it can be soothing for me in that way. And I don't mind being soothed that way. But
right.
when it comes down to my particular touch on me, it's just I'm like, okay, I don't get it.
Can I ask you a question? So when you said about the oral thing, right?
hmm
So when somebody has given you oral, did it not even stimulate you at all?
I can't remember in good. Well, I started when I was 20. I can't remember in 30 years where it was something someone did, because that's happened a few times that I can remember that I was like, oh, that shit was the bomb. No, hasn't happened.
Wow.
Has not happened. And I
Mm.
feel like I'm missing out because maybe I just was, with the wrong, came across the wrong person. But at the same time, you know, when you're raised in church, when you're raised under a minister, it's a lot of things that you feel is not supposed to be that way. So you disconnect from it. I know I did. I disconnected from that.
Because in the
So,
church,
hmm
masturbation is a sin, right?
right. So I disconnected from that. And every
But
time
so is
that's being brought
fornication.
to me, fornication
Right.
was something I wasn't going to give up either way.
Okay.
Mm. So
Fornication,
you picked
if
one.
I was going to go to hell, it would have been that.
So you chose your sin, right? I hear
Yes,
you.
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I sure did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I say your sin, I'm
Yes,
Right.
I
Air
know.
okay.
quotes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And the thing about, I guess the thing that makes me ponder the whole lack of engagement into self-pleasure is
hmm
because I know for me, I've been celibate too. Now, I don't know if celibacy is defined as, if I've been celibate, but being able to self-please um meant something to me during my times of celibacy, and even it's even a part of our repertoire, if you so to speak, with my partner. So um I feel like women who don't, and I've always, it always hurt me a little bit when I heard that, hear that women um don't engage with that, in that, especially when it's related to the church, no offense,
Right.
um because I feel like there's so much, we're not always having sex. Sometimes we're not always partnered up.
Right.
And if you're not partnered up, for months at a time, years at a time, you don't get to have that pleasure. You don't get to have that release. That's a release for me. When I'm in school and I am going and I'm stressing and stuff like that, that is a release for me. If I have tension or if my fella is traveling like is now, that
Mhm.
is, you know,
Right.
that is something that I can give to myself.
Yeah, keep you
And
from cheating too.
huh?
To keep you from going to get it somewhere else too.
So,
So and I always envied that part of it because, you know, um, I get into I have to look around the corner. Um, I don't have a problem with porn. Um, but it's mainly because I'm bored. He's not here. Or I'm not with that person. But um it's not one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this so that I can get off on it. Um, because again, I don't like vibrators. I think it's too much. It's I you know I don't know. I don't like addictive type things. That seemed like it can be very addictive, and I just never I never wanted to, get to that point again. Like I'm saying this stuff, but and as I'm saying it, I'm like, I'm listening to myself. All of this goes back to my mother. Everything that I was taught was not good, was not, natural, was looked upon as bad. These things are now in my mind something that I just shut off.
yeah, yeah, I
Hmm.
could see that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's when it comes down to let me read this what Dub Cal says. I don't know. I think it depends on if a person likes to be I'm kind of paraphrasing here, likes to be taught, or if the person wants to be the teacher. Kinky. So are you guys a taught do you like to be the teacher or you like being taught or both?
Some
Well,
days I'm the teacher, some days I'm the student.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask this
Yeah.
question. Ali, has a woman ever said to you, um, you're not pleasing her, um, and she likes, a specific thing that you really weren't comfortable with? Has that ever happened to you?
Only in my teen, only when I was young, when I was like 18, 19, something like that, 17.
Did you
Yeah.
still do it or you didn't do it?
At the time I didn't, because when I was young, I was very about me. So I didn't really care about uh okay, so the situation was oral.
Okay.
When I was young, I did not do oral.
Okay.
I just was like, no, I'm not doing oral. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't know if it was because, I think it was more because like I was like, it's too vulnerable in a way to give my to put myself in that situation. You know what I mean? Like I felt like, oh, I'm not gonna give you that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so she wanted that. I, you know, and so at the time I was like, no, you know what I mean? And we pretty much stopped talking. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
Wow.
but not since I've been
Good
like,
for
you know what I
her.
mean? Not in my older years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not in my older
Okay.
years. Yeah, no.
Mari, has that ever happened to you where someone you were dating or you were seeing asked you to do something that you had never done and you weren't comfortable with, but you did it anyway?
Um, yes, and that was the first and the last time. I
Wow, really?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I was young,
Okay,
so um, and the person wasn't worth it.
gotcha.
So the person wasn't worth it. I didn't know it at the time, but I just kind of didn't feel comfortable. And I just, we attempted to do a certain act, and I just had to stop and say, this is not comfortable for me. And I'm not going to do it. And I was right, because I wasn't his only,
Mhm.
so for the, again, we were young. And if I were going to do something that made me uncomfortable for the sake of, this love thing, I would have wanted to be sure that we were exclusive. And I later found out that we weren't exclusive. So, at least we weren't as exclusive as I thought we were.
Right.
He was doing his thing. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was really it. And I mean, going forward, I've just been really open,
Hmm.
about what my likes and dislikes are. And
Right.
I've been with someone who is equally as open. And
Good.
yeah, and we're communicators. And for us women,
Hmm.
communication for foreplay begins at the dinner table. It begins at the candlelight dinner. It begins when we're talking on the phone. So
Hmm.
foreplay begins outside of that. So the communication is key, anyway, to get us ready, and to make love. And so if you have that, again, as a grown, in a grown and sexy relationship, um saying what you need and what you don't need should be a piece of cake.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you want the other part, when two people are together, you should both want each other to be happy
Yeah,
and fulfilled in the bedroom, because there's nothing worse than to lay next to someone and they're finished and you're sitting there looking like, okay, what happened?
right, right, right,
So don't, I encourage everyone, don't go through that. You don't have to go through that. It's very simple to say, no, you're not done. Get your ass up and let's finish, my turn. If you got
right,
to do that,
right.
you know. Andrea, have that ever happened to you where someone asked you that you were dating and they asked you to do something that you weren't comfortable with, but because you liked them, you tried it?
No,
So you've never done anything weren't comfortable with.
no,
Okay, that's good. I had to be talked into one particular thing, and it's crazy because you know a lot of my girlfriends and cousins and family, I'm putting them out there, Lord have mercy, y'all forgive me, but a lot of people that I knew that were younger than me had already tried this thing, and I was you know very fearful of it, but they kept saying, girl, don't knock it till you try it. I'm like, the fuck, really? And it was crazy because at a young age they had already went to this other you know particular act of of sex. And I think when I was 45, that was the first time I tried this particular act, and I had to be, I was scared, and it's just one of those things where I couldn't do it unless I knew the risk of it. I understood what it was going to do to me, what was going to happen if this happened, if was my ass going to be okay afterwards. I had to have answers.
So I'm assuming we're talking about anal.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes,
Well,
I was a slow bloomer on that one.
mm,
I was 45 when that first happened to me. And it took a colonic for me to even get comfortable with that, because it wasn't the person that got me comfortable with it. It's just me. I had a colonic done. And when after that was over with, um, I wasn't as scared, put it that way, because it was a it wasn't similar, But I understood it. I knew that my ass was going to be okay. My ass was going to live to see another day. But yeah, I had to be talked into that. So
I'm laughing at that gonna live to see another day comment.
I was scared of that, man. I mean, for like 20 something years, every guy that I dated had always asked me to do that. And I was like, hell no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I remember that I got so tired of the question being asked that
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying, well, sure, I'll do it if you let me do you first.
Ah, yes.
If I can stick my finger in there, listen, because I knew that, that's where the prostate was, that
Right.
prostate massage, what have you. And I said, well, and they were so averse to it. And I said, well, if you're averse to it and you have, and that's an erogenous zone for you,
Mhm.
it's not an
Right.
erogenous zone for women.
Right.
Um, why would you think that I'll do it?
I have that same thing when it comes down to men who think that you're supposed to suck their dicks for hours on end. If you ain't never sucked a dick, don't tell me how long to suck it. Okay.
Oh, that's another good one.
I
That's
love it.
another
That's
good. You're
fantastic.
really good
I
with
Don't
love
these
it.
do that.
lines.
Don't do that. I hate that. Don't tell me, wait, why you getting up, nigga? I'm tired. Shit. My mouth is hurting.
My jaws hurt.
Right. If you ain't never sucked a dick, don't tell a woman how long to stay on your fucking dick. Don't do that.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. Until you suck one, don't tell a woman how long to be on it.
And so it
Well, maybe
is.
they're just communicating what they want. Isn't that even part of what we're discussing here? They're just communicating what they want. Oh, good gosh. But I completely understand your point, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay if you want some, a porn star to be on on your dick like that. I'm not a porn star,
Yeah, like I said, like that
and
standing
that's a
on your head
treat,
thing.
That's
nigga. It's a
No.
the
treat.
expectation.
It's a treat. It
Yeah,
ain't it
like
ain't a
that standing
meal.
on your
It ain't
head. It's
meals,
ridiculous.
meals happen every day, but treats happen every once in a while when you deserve it. You
Aha.
know, my
That's a
mouth is not
word.
built to be, and come on now. Even porn stars don't do it every day. Come on now, they get paid for that shit. If you paying me,
That might be some incentive to have your jaws hurt.
hello, hello.
Well, I guess because every guy has met a woman who loves nothing more than to suck dick, I think. And then, like I
She's
said,
fronting.
and then I like it. I don't know. I can't say that. I can't say that
She's
seriously.
fronting.
But at the same time, you know what I mean. Like I said, I said previous in my, previous statement, a lot of people are watching porn or different
Mhm.
things and thinking that translate to real life or their real situations or something like that. You know what I mean? But I can't say that every woman is fronting when it comes to that because I do know I have met for like that women who would love nothing more than suck dick.
Right.
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
and there's what, more power to
Yeah,
those
to
women.
everybody teach his own, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
But
and and I mean the right guy, I might spend an hour, but hey, if I get up and I say I'm tired, my lips is about locked jawed, let me get up and rest and work my lips out. Let me do something, and I might come back. But you got some men that get irritated because you stop. Or, well, why you getting up? Come on now. If you ain't never done this, stop telling me when and how long to do it. That's all I'm saying.
right.
Because unless you can show me, how to do it.
I don't think you want that.
Andrea, every time you put your head down, you crack me up.
I had a woman try to touch my ass too much, and I didn't like that. So
Say that again. Say that again.
I said I had a woman who always kept trying to touch my ass or try to
Oh,
like
hell
touch
no.
my ass, and I didn't like that. I'm like, stop doing that. You know what I mean? But
Oh
that was something.
wow.
Yeah, I
Let me
didn't
see.
like
I
that.
mean, what part of the ass?
Like, no, my asshole type shit. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
hell no. No.
Oh.
Right,
She trying to turn you out.
right. I didn't like that. I'm like, no, stop doing that. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
you know,
And I never got that either. Why do women do, unless he invites that or unless he says it's okay, why are you trying to see if that's who he is?
yeah, I'm not sure.
Or if he would be okay. I have a family, a friend of mine who used to do that to every man she was with.
And what was
And
her purpose?
she got off on just punking them out.
She
And
thought
if
that
they
meant
and
that
if
she was
they and if
punking them
they
out.
yeah, and if they liked it, she disrespected them.
That's she's
I thought
weird.
that was the most backwardest
Okay,
shit
I'm
in
sorry.
the
She's weird.
world, but yeah, it was that was real fucked up. I'm like, you can't. First of all, it's still, no matter what, it's still the human body. Everybody is sensitive in certain places, in certain areas, whether gay, straight, or whatever. They're still sensitive in those spots. Some things that may not, that a straight man may like, a gay man may like. But why would you want to go there if he hasn't said do that? Why would you want to do that?
Right.
Introduce him to that, because you might be mad later on when you come home and there's a nigga in the bed,
I
with
I
the same finger.
I don't think I would think it was gay.
Hmm.
I think that's kind of bizarre to think that a woman performing that, uh, you know, on a man makes him gay. I think that's kind of weird.
I
Yeah,
agree with you,
but
That's a
Andrea.
woman.
that was her thinking though, is that she
Right.
wanted to see if he was a punk. Those were her words exactly.
Well,
I'm
for some
like,
people,
that
I
ain't.
think it's a fetish thing.
Hmm.
Some people have fetishes, and that's just there's people just with weird ass fetishes. But at the
Right.
same time, though, you do have a plethora of men who spent a lot of time in prison or jail. And so, I mean, some dudes you gotta kind of watch, what I mean? So maybe she was trying to test them out, or what I mean, or whatever it may be too, you know what I mean? So you never know what the situation was or who she was with before, you know what I mean? So, because I mean, it's bizarre to me for anybody who wants to spend a long amount of time in prison, but people do it, and you know what I'm saying, so you kind of wonder, well, what was you doing inside that mug? What I mean? So I don't know, but I know I just didn't like it. I mean, she kept trying to touch me there. I'm like, no, what I mean? So
Right. Right.
that's saying what I'm into, but there are people who just like that
You
fetish. There
think
are
that
some
she was
people who
that
like
she
that.
was she was that person that was into that, or do you think it was something where she was testing you?
I think she was into that. I don't think I don't think any way that she thought any type of, like I had any type of tendencies, but I think she
Mhm.
just was into that and I just wasn't into that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like I know some dudes like my brother, a couple of people that I know who like let women lick their ass and I don't like that shit. And I'm like, why would you? That's not something that I'm into, you know what I mean? But then guys will be like, but you just feel good if you never tried it. But it's just, that's not something where I want to go. You know what I mean? It's not where
Right.
I want to be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's your
Everybody
preference.
got where they want to be. That's not where I want to be. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with everything, and who's to say that later on you may be comfortable with it. But right now, the stage you're in right now, it's okay to not be comfortable with it. I get it.
I met a woman on my job. We were just talking. She came into town. She actually works out of town, but she came into town, so she was in the office working. And she told me the other day, if you're not eating booty like groceries, that's mandatory basically.
Yeah, I hear
Wait,
that's the
wait,
new
what?
thing in dating
She
now.
said eating her ass is mandatory.
Hmm.
Licking her ass is mandatory. Eating the groceries is mandatory. So I was like, wow, that's mandatory to you? She's like, yeah, that's mandatory. I'm like, so, what I mean? Like I said, there's a lot of, things that go on that people listen to these songs. They listen to a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? You hear
Mhm.
these women saying a lot of different things and a lot of people pushing boundaries I'm just
Yeah,
not push every boundary type of person. You know what I mean? But there are some people who just, that's what they do. You know what I mean? And, you
right.
know, I found that surprising that, it's like mandatory. Wow. Okay. It's mandatory, you know.
Hey, that's what she want. That's what
I
she
told her a
want. You
story
know.
though. I told her a story though. I heard a story, and this is not personal. I didn't know the person, but I heard a story of a person who had did anal. A guy
Mhm.
did anal on a woman, and
Okay.
the woman and his penis was like hurting for days, and like it was burning. It was kind of swelling. He went to the doctor. He got tested for STDs. There was nothing there. You know what I mean? And
Thank
but
God.
it kept burning. It kept
Hmm.
burning. Kept swelling. You know what I mean? And so what happened was he went back to the doctor, and the doctor had found out basically the woman had ate something that was hot, and the seed from whatever she ate had entered inside his penis. And so that's what was, irritating his penis. Basically, is like she had like a jalapeno or some shit like that, and the seed was inside of his penis.
Oh my God. Woo, Lord.
Right.
Now this is fascinating conversation.
I ain't even got a dick and I felt that. Shit.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Wow.
So that's why I say, even when it comes to anal, a lot of people see it on porn and shit like that. But I mean, they don't understand that porn stars do a lot of preparation before they do anal. You know what I mean? It's not like they just say, okay, yeah, stick it in my ass. Sometimes they do a lot of stuff to it, make sure that it's ready for that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
But
do a
people
whole
don't.
evacuation process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know what I mean? But people don't understand that. You know what I mean? So they just do what they see and think that's how it goes. You know?
I had this one situation happen, and I didn't realize that it was going to turn me on. This guy had a little small flashlight about maybe a little bit. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit smaller than this. And it was a flashlight. And
My phone is about to cut off.
and he put this flashlight at the tip of my hole, that my anal hole, and did this right here. And the warmth of the flashlight, I'm looking in the mirror off to the side, right? And all I could see was the illumination of the light in my ass. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. But I didn't think I was gonna be, I thought that was like crazy, but I'm like, I really didn't mind that. So you'd never know what you like. I know that was really weird, but I just thought about that.
Listen, share. This is a judgment free zone. Share it.
Absolutely.
Right. But yeah, you guys, I just wanted to make sure that we talked about this because I wanted everybody to understand, even with this, um, the relationships that are, you know, um, that we see, that we see our friends have and our family members and our loved ones have. Um, it gets to a point to where there's a disconnect and people go outside of the relationship, um, because they're not being either fulfilled or the appetite is not there anymore. I've seen that happen where, um, the appetite slows down, for one person more than the other person. Um, I'm not sure why that happens. I'm pretty sure there's other factors into it that, you know, comes up in the relationship that, because I know women, the first thing we'll do is shut down, sexually when other things are not right. Um, but is that a good thing in the long run for the whole relationship? Because, he's got to get fulfilled some kind of way, and how long he waits is important. So it's so many variables to this. I think that we have so much to unravel in this subject. Um, but I thank you guys for coming on and discussing this with me. And we're going to get a little bit more in depth about these, because this subject actually touches on another subject that we had before about, I think it was a couple of, maybe a week or two ago, about, how religion has influenced your thinking on sexual relationships. And
Right.
it's one of those things where you don't realize how conditioned you are until you hear other people talk about um their experiences and their likes and dislikes, and what makes them tick, and what's good and what's not. So I thank you guys for enlightening me, because I sometimes I feel like I'm 10 years behind on a lot of things. It's a lot of things I have experienced, but it's a lot of things I haven't. um so you know yeah, somebody said, a Facebook user said, good conversation. Thank you, whoever that is. I only see Facebook user.
Yeah. And
Okay.
before we go, I think the one thing that I would say is, if not now, then when? When it comes to speaking your truth,
Hmm.
when it comes to getting to know yourself, what you
Yeah.
like, what you don't like, again, whether that's inside the bedroom or outside the
Hmm.
bedroom. If
Right.
not now, then when? We owe it to ourselves to take the time to spend time with ourselves enough to understand what it is that we like, what our thoughts are, what our needs are. And
Hmm.
we owe it to ourselves to comfortably, as long as we are respectful about it, but comfortably and gingerly share with others, especially particularly those that we are intimate with. We
Hmm.
owe it to ourselves to share with others what we are discovering or what we have discovered about
Right.
who we are.
Yeah.
If not
Because
now,
it
then
helps.
when?
Yeah, and it helps. This is therapy for me. Not only is it's something where I feel like it needs to be talked about, but it's therapy for me. Because when you have these conversations sometimes within yourself, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know sometimes who to go to ask these questions of, why I feel this way. Why am I, why is there a block there? But, having the conversation makes me understand, okay, some of this stuff comes from my childhood. Some of these thinkings, and these beliefs that I think is valid comes from my mother,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
you have two sisters on the line here that you could always call to
Awesome.
talk to
Hmm.
about such
You know,
things.
if you feel that it's something that you want to um, work toward or work toward having a greater comfort level with yourself, with your own touch, you don't have to start off by thinking, I'm going to masturbate. Do you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right.
Allow yourself to sensually touch yourself. One, whatever amount of time that you have a level of comfort with, whatever areas that you have a level of comfort with, and then you can proceed with something further at another point. You just
Hmm.
have to be gentle with yourself mentally and emotionally, and and know that it's okay, because this is me,
Okay.
and no one should really be able to please me more than me, truth
Right.
be told.
I agree. I
Agree.
agree. Hmm.
Agree.
So yeah, you can work on that if it is something that you're inclined to do. It's up to you. Surely you don't have to. But I
Yeah.
mean, if it is, don't feel that you're going in with the mentality that, you're going to masturbate, you're going to have an orgasm,
Right.
Agreed.
or even that you're going to deal with the arousal, because the arousal, I think, is natural. If you touch yourself in certain areas, you're going to become aroused.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unusual,
Okay.
and it's all fine. It's
Right.
all just fine. And you have to remind yourself that, you know this is a way maybe that you can get in touch with certain feelings that you have about
Mhm.
yourself, even,
Right.
and ways that maybe you can express yourself even greater
Okay.
in whatever relationships, intimate relationships with a man that you'll have in the future.
I
So,
agree because I know a lot of times with me, and I have to catch myself, Andrea, and Mari. I have to catch myself. I drift in my relationships. I
hmm,
drift mentally. I drift, and I have to bring myself to the present. I don't know if that's an Aquarian thing. I think it is. I'm not sure, but I drift a lot, and I don't like that because I don't. I'm like, okay, Tasha, come back, stay in the moment. Stay here
hmm.
with him. He's here for your attention. He's here for your time. And if you probably ask every Aquarian, we probably all have that problem of trying to round our thoughts into that person to stay in the moment with that person. Because
Do
I
you
can
think
be
it's a
with
defense
you.
mechanism? I mean, in other words, is this the way that you prevent yourself from becoming but so close to another person?
Too engaged.
I don't know. I don't know because if I'm there with them, I want to be engaged with them. I want that bond with them, but I find myself drifting.
Right.
And it's not cool because I wouldn't want nobody to drift while they're with me,
So
or to.
are you saying you're drifting during the act itself?
There have been times where I did, where I checked out, and my mind can be on 100 things at one time. Even while I'm asleep, while I'm walking around, while I'm doing something, while I'm having sex, while I'm talking, my mind is on 100 different things. And when
Hmm.
it comes down to intimacy, for an Aquarian mind, I'm saying that lightly because I know a lot of Aquarians, we tend to drift, and it's hard to stay in the moment with a person, and it affects a lot of things
That's what
because
I was going
people
to ask
don't
you.
know how you feel. They don't
I
know
was
how
going to
you
ask
feel
you that.
about them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Does it have a negative effect on your
Yeah,
relationships?
because people don't know
Hmm.
how I feel. They don't know if I'm into them or not, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm here, but I'm now, the older I get, I'm like, okay, I got to be more conscious of the fact that that person can tell when I'm not into them or that I'm not there with them. So
So
I'm
do
more
you
conscious of it. I'm more, in tune with it. But I'm just bringing that out, that that's another thing that I have to work on, with my relationships, and trying to, tune into him, even in bed or whatever. I have to stay there, and it's sometimes hard to do.
so because it makes me wonder if
Hmm.
you're being like you said, you don't enjoy oral pleasure, oral sex, and it makes me wonder if the ability to stay in tuned is tied to the level of satisfaction that you're receiving, because if somebody is blowing your mind,
Hmm.
then you have no choice but to be in the moment. You know what I mean? You're going to be in the moment if someone's
Yeah.
blowing your mind.
Yeah.
If you're not being satisfied, then it's easy. I could see how anybody could drift if
Hmm.
if they're not being satisfied. So I wonder if there's a connection between the two. And then you bring up the your religious background,
Yeah.
And then I tie in Andrea's question, and I wonder if are you able to be in the moment, give yourself away to being, because remember the live talk you guys just had with
Right.
your sister and Hollip, and you guys were affirming the fact that satisfaction is here first, is mentally first. You have to be mentally open,
Yeah.
you know, to and free. You have to let
Mhm.
your mind go, and you have to let yourself be free in order to close your eyes, or leave your eyes open and gaze into the other your partner's eyes, and allow yourself to be taken to another level of ecstasy.
Right.
You have to, but if it starts with, from the conversation, and I'm inclined to agree that it starts with allowing yourself to be free, not thinking about other things, just allowing yourself to be free.
Hmm. And that's the part that I'm working on. That's my 2022 goal is to be more free in my relationships and my connections with people. That's one of the things that I told myself I was going to work on, is being more free so that I can connect and stay there, not connect and then just drift off to where, in the cosmos somewhere. I do that a lot, and yeah, it can be very tiring for the person that's with me, because Aquarius is an air sign. We're the water bearer, but we're air sign. Air, you can't contain air, but think about air as a mental, mind. That's crazy.
Yeah. Andrea, what's your sign?
Leo,
Leo.
I'm
Okay.
fire.
I knew
Okay.
that.
I'm an air sign too. I'm a Gemini.
Okay. Yeah, my sister Tanika is a Gemini. Yeah, Tanika is the twin spirit.
Yep. All the
Mhm.
way.
Yeah. But thank you guys. I'm at 4%, so I know it's about time for me to get. Good Lord, this thing eats up my battery pretty good. But we've been on here for about an hour and a half, so um, I appreciate you guys so much. But we are going to finish this conversation, and I want you guys to realize how beautiful you guys are to me. So when you guys are ready to stream and be on the lives, I want you to put this on your pages and your friends and family, and let them come on and see how brilliant you guys are. And let's build this community up to where we can make this really big for us, because I
All
think
right,
we can do
sweetheart. You're beautiful too. You are amazingly beautiful,
it. Thank you.
inside and out.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night, and I'm gonna go live tomorrow, not on BBSG, but it's gonna be on Facebook through StreamYard. I am going to be talking of a spiritual nature, talking about the word be saved, delivered, and set free. The three words we learned in church, what they actually mean without the religion.
Oh, okay. That's going to be interesting. What time is
Yeah.
that?
It's gonna be around 6:30. I'm changing the time to 6:30 because I kind of want to catch everybody right after church.
Right, right.
So
That's
yeah,
going to be very interesting. Okay.
yeah.
All right,
Okay.
sis.
Well, I will
Well,
talk to you later, and
all right.
you have a good night.
You
And you guys,
too.
thank you for tuning in to. Um, let me. Okay. Thank you
Sorry about
guys for.
that.
Oh, no
Okay.
problem. No problem. Thank you guys for tuning in to the collective. I call us the collective here. It's not just um my topics and everything. This is for the collective. This is for everyone in BBSG. On Twitter, tune into us on Twitter if you're there. On YouTube, you can follow us there as well, and Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. You guys check us out tomorrow, and we will talk to you later. Have a good night.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Good night. Peace.
Bye bye.
Bye.